Open up like a flower in the moonlight. I've been taking space to mend, to hold me up, cause I've fallen so many times. Coming up slowly towards the light like a vine upon your window. Am I your only?
I had my first abortion at age 16. The second at age 21. Never really gave much thought to it. Just knew that it wasn't the right time in my life for me to be having a child. Fast forward 10 years, I'm 31 years old, married with a good paying job, and find out now that I can't have kids. It was heartbreaking for me and my husband. So we went through with the long process of adoption, and after 2 years, we adopted our son, Colin. Understand, adopting an 8-year-old kid is tough, especially when that kid has been in the system his entire life. Colin suffered with trust issues and would frequently have nightmares. And other times there were things he just refused to talk about. But by the time he was 12 years old, my husband and I had made a breakthrough. Colin was a happy young man, active in sports, and outgoing. Understand, my son can have a little bit of reckless behavior, and he also has a bit of a violent streak. But the older he got, the more we were able to get it under control. And my husband and I started to call him Handsome because we wanted to build his confidence up. Never intending for it to stick as an official nickname, but kids started calling him Handsome. At age 16, you could clearly tell he was not our son. Genetically, he towered over my husband and I. 6'6", 185 pounds, lean muscle. They tried to recruit him for every sport, but Colin wanted to swim. And to our surprise, he was a natural. His long body allowed him to glide and slice through the water, and he started competing. And when I tell you, seeing Colin in the pool was an electrifying experience. It was amazing. Crowds going wild. College scholarship offers coming in from everywhere. And yes, as parents, I can say we were very proud of him. But deep down inside, we knew his athletic ability had nothing to do with us. And my husband, even though he was proud, struggled with the whole situation. He was literally raising someone else's son, watching that child achieve the epitome of athletic perfection, but deep down inside, knowing that it had absolutely nothing to do with him. The reality of our situation begins to weigh on my husband, so I decided we needed to get away from the world. A little vacation. Just the three of us as a family out in the woods, some time to unwind and relax. So I rented a 2-bedroom house for the weekend. Northwest Alabama, right on a lake. We all hopped in a car and headed out and talk about a good family vacation. We needed it. It was the first time we relaxed as a family in a long time. No running back and forth, no work, no questions about Colin and sports, just us hanging out by the fire pit, talking and laughing. That Sunday morning, we had breakfast at 7:30, and Colin says he wants to go for a swim in the lake. Imagine this. There's this wooded area across from our boat launch. He wanted to swim over to the wooded area, check it out, and then come right back. Judging the distance from out of the kitchen window, it looked about a good 200 to 300 meters, nothing for Colin to swim over, so we decided to let him go. My husband and I sit on the back porch having coffee, watching as he swims over, climbs up on land, looks around a bit, then walks into the trees, uses the bathroom, hops in the water, and begins to swim back over. No problems whatsoever. After that, we hang out a bit more, head to the grocery store to get some steaks for the grill, asparagus, a few potatoes so we could dice them up and put them in the oven. Then do a little shopping for clothes, and we get back to the house at about 5:30. Now, Colin wants to go for a swim again. My husband is saying, "Look, son, it's going to get dark soon, and boats may be out there, and they may not be able to see you." The two of them are arguing back and forth, and my husband finally gives in, tells the boy, "Go ahead, just hurry up, swim over, and come straight back." Just before Colin dives off the dock and into the water, he turns around and says, "Don't worry, Dad. I'll make it fast. I promise you, I'm coming right back." So now, my husband and I are keeping an eye on him, but doing other things. He's outside at the grill. I'm inside, slicing potatoes, preparing the asparagus. And I notice that he's made it to the other bank. He's kind of poking around, walking on the edge of the wood line, looking. I take my eyes off him for a second to finish dicing the potatoes, I say a good 8 to 10 minutes pass. Something is bothering me. It's telling me go outside and check on Colin. So I head out the back door and ask my husband, is Colin on his way back yet? Have you seen him? Now, both of us are turning our attention to the area where Colin should be. Walking down to the edge of the dock, looking, but I don't see him anywhere. Colin! Colin! It's time to come back, buddy, my husband screams. Standing there, the sun is falling down behind the trees. This bad feeling starts to set in. You know, that motherly instinct? You just know something's not right. Listen to me. There were no boats on the water, and Colin swims like a fish. So there's absolutely no chance that this boy is drowned. Something's going on over there on that island. So I tell my husband to swim over there and go get him. He reassures me that Colin is fine. Let's just give him a minute. He may be up in the woods messing around. And so we call him again. Colin! Come on, son, it's time to go. Come on, Colin! That's when you see him come running out of the wood line, this long stride. He cuts to the right, onto this little bluff, steps on a log, and dives into the water. But something was off. And at that moment, I couldn't place it. But seconds later, it became very, very clear as this creature came running out of the woods. Harry, 6 to 7 feet tall, pointy ears, running on 2 legs. It goes to the bluff, stands there, and begins to smell the air. Understand, Colin hadn't come up from under the water. My husband and I are standing there on the boat dock in shock at what we're seeing. 15 seconds later, Colin comes up from under the water, and he is smoking. Listen to me, I have never seen that boy swim that fast. But he's swimming on an angle that would eventually lead him away from us. That's when this creature starts to take these huge steps, backing up, gets a running start, and jumps into the water. Holy were the words that came out of my husband's mouth, because it launches into the air, hits the water, and goes under. Now we're screaming. My husband is running to the car to get the gun. I'm repositioning myself from off the dock, running along the side of the bank to get in front of Colin. And he's smoking, man, moving through that water like a hot knife through butter. I've never experienced anything like this before, but you know how they show you in the movies when bad things are happening, time slows down? Well, that's how it was, slow motion. I see my husband running back in my direction with a gun in hand, Colin swimming. And at this point in time, I've had to move so far down the bank that I'm literally right up against the gate of another homeowner. And out of my peripheral vision, I can see that homeowner slowly walking out of their back door. And then this creature's head pops up out of the water. It's stationary for a second, looking around. But now Colin is damn near 100 feet away from me, and I hear this gunshot. And I hear these gunshots. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. Heart damn near jumped out of my chest. And then I realized it's not my husband shooting, because he's right next to me, going into the lake, gun in hand, to get Colin. This creature sinks back underwater, and it's gone. Colin is now on shore. The neighbor is running down to his dock, rifle in hand, screaming, "Son of a, pop your head up again. I'm going to blow it off." It's massive confusion in that moment. And the look on Colin's face is like he literally just escaped the Nazi prison camp. Now the neighbor is screaming at us, "Pack it and go. It's done got the boys sent. I'm going to stay out here and make sure it doesn't come ashore. But y'all need to go." And I need you to understand, this guy's not some pot-belly, redneck looking fella. He looks like one of those retired Army general types, that slick back silver hair, a little bit too fit for an old man. And the way he barked orders at us, he had to be military, because it felt like you had no choice but to do what he was saying do. Remember, we have steaks on the grill, potatoes in the oven, asparagus on the counter, food we just bought in the refrigerator. But in 15 minutes, we're packed and on the road. It wasn't until then that Colin told us what happened. So you see, when he went to the island the very first time, he used the bathroom on a tree. And a few minutes later, a puppy, as he describes it, came out of the woods, smelled it, and peed on the same tree. When he went to pet this puppy, it yelped and ran off. So he figured it was scared. So he hopped in the water and swam back over, thinking nothing of it. When he went back that evening, the whole area smelled like piss. So he walked around a bit and he sees the puppy again. This time it's being playful. He described it as a cute puppy, jet black, kind of looked like a Doberman, but no brown hair at all. And as he was there, down on his knees playing with it, he hears a growl. The pup runs off, and he could tell something was moving towards him in those woods, but he couldn't see it. So Colin ran full speed, and when he got out of the tree line, he didn't want to wade out into the water, so he ran to that bluff and dove in. He told us he stayed underwater as long as he could. Wasn't sure what direction he was going in, but he knew he needed to get away. Without a doubt, he needed to get away from where he was. And according to him, the entire time that he was swimming, he was so afraid he couldn't even hear us until he was on shore. Now understand, we are literally driving through the night to get home. Our checkout was that next day at 12 noon. By 3 p.m. Monday, we get a call from the guy who we rented the place from. He says his cleaning crew just left the house and that we broke the back door. The knob was broken. And that we had agreed to not have pets in the house, but it smelled like wet dog. He's fussing on the phone, telling us he's going to keep our deposit, charge us extra money for the doorknob, and even more money because he had to remove the odor of wet dog. Listen, my husband is on the phone with him, and he's very polite considering the circumstances. He says, "Sir, we left the property Sunday night after a monster chased our son who was swimming on the lake. If you don't believe us, ask your neighbor. We left at his directions. So you can charge us those extra fees. We're fine with that. We have the money. But what the hell you need to do is warn people who rent that property from you about what's over there, because somebody's going to get hurt." Understand, this conversation is happening right there in front of me on speakerphone. And that's when he says, "Did you not read the letter that was left on the kitchen counter? It says, do not go to the island across from the dock." It's in red writing. It says, "Do not go to the island across from the dock. It's privately owned." Now, I'm charging you, and the next time you should read the damn instructions. Now, here's the craziest thing. I do remember there being a letter on the counter, and I do remember there being red writing. Neither one of us read it, though. Looking back on it, I sure wish we would have.